of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve, you want to tackle roll call?
All right. Robertson?
Here.
Agostinelli?
Here.
Racine?
Here.
Castiglione is absent and excused. Fudge?
Here.
DeGood is absent and excused. And Yulee.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
All right, public comment. We have no public, so we will move past that to number 2, review and approval of the agenda and statement of any conflicts of interest.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And next up, review and approval of the minutes from the August 12th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Support.
Okay, we've got a support and a motion and a support. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, correspondence, Steve.
All right. I'll actually talk about this in a second in staff report, but correspondence from Beckett and Rader and from staff regarding the Elmwood Township master plan.
All right. You want to just hold off then? And
Yeah, I'll do it as part of staff
Okay,
report.
perfect.
So, yeah.
All right, 5A, Township Board Report.
The board passed a resolution to create a moratorium on data centers and cryptocurrency mining facilities. That's the highlight of the meeting.
Now the work begins, right? All right, ZBA?
I think we're supposed to have a meeting in the latter part of September, first one in all of 2026, I believe.
Okay. Parks and Rec Commission?
Has not met since the previous plan commission meeting.
And Joint Planning Commission?
That would also be true. We haven't met since July.
Okay.
And Molly alerted me to their next scheduled or special meeting that they were looking at was tentatively scheduled for September 23rd, which is also our study session, so we might see if we can get a different date for that.
I don't think I ever heard that.
For time.
Did it just come today?
It just came to.
That's probably why. So,
I haven't seen that.
Yep, so we'll figure that one out.
All right.
All right.
Moving along to 5C, Staff Report.
All right, so in correspondence, so we got, it's dated August 3rd. We got it slightly after that, and we were already putting the packet together for our previous meeting for August 12th. And usually we look at master plans at study sessions. And we also look back on like the previous, like earlier communication notice of intent to plan. There wasn't a specific communication that said like the 63-day review period is starting now and ends on such and such date. So it wasn't like quite clear, at least from what we gathered, but they were having their public hearing on August 18th, so they had it last week. So staff, we took a look at, that's why we did it more as just a letter from staff. Otherwise, we would have absolutely brought it to probably this study session. I don't know at that public hearing if they did adopt it or if they have any other steps, but for Elmwood, I think the things we noticed were we mostly focused on M72 or where we border with them. They, as sort of expected, I wanted to use that like if they were going to concentrate any activity closer to town, closer to Grey Lakeville. M72, they had more, they called it like agricultural commercial, and I think it was more like commercial, but still like a lower, not like a retail, but something that might be tied to like a more rural commercial on that corner. So I just highlighted any type of commercial at all, like as long as it's not like water sewer. We don't have water sewer going up that direction. Water is on Cedar Run is as close as it gets, but sewer is pretty far away. But I also, we mentioned all three townships. This is the corner where we have the southeast corner. Elmwood has the entire north side. Long Lake has the southwest corner. If we all came together, this is a major intersection with a light. Long Lake has apartments on one side of it. Elmwood has what they're planning to do, and we don't really have anything aside from low-density residential here. So maybe we come together and it's do a little study of that area. Might be beneficial. Same thing if we need to partner with anything on like utilities. The other kind of thing we pointed out, our own non-motorized plan also doesn't go up there, but if they have any projects, especially connecting to the TART trail that runs right through Elmwood, and if it's beneficial, like we can be an open partner if an idea comes up. So that's pretty much all we had with Elmwoods. So sorry again that it didn't make it to our agenda, but that's what we put together and sent to them.
Did you ever hear back what, if anything, happened at Elmwood Township on August 18th?
We didn't. We sent it earlier, like the day of, and they acknowledged they received it. I didn't hear since, but I can follow up with
I'd
Sarah.
like to know. I like your suggestion of a joint meeting with the three townships. And, I mean, we can't force it, but I like the idea, and then you guys suggested it. I certainly hope they at least talked about it.
I know, like, other townships have, when we mentioned East Bay doing, like, South Airport at some point, I know they were interested. That just has kind of gone to the back burner at this point, but I know they're primed for if that comes down the line. Right now, they're just trying to get all of the sewer leakage off of South Airport, so let's at least have functioning that before we get into long-term planning. Well,
We have that electric station that's going in right close to that. Do they know that? And are
I think it was far enough south. It was
pretty close.
It's a mile.
not to Elmwood. It was right across from Long Lake, but
Yes.
not Elmwood. We did look up. I'm trying to gather some information. It looks like Wolverine may have tried to do a project in Elmwood. The transmission station is the one in Elmwood, but
Yeah,
I'm
right
not sure if they.
across M72.
Right. So it's a different function than this one, but they may have tried to either expand or do something else there about a decade ago. We got additional written public comment that was talking about that. So I wanted to dig more into what their operation is up there. Perhaps also follow up with Elmwood on that.
So that's going to be a big station there,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Other comments or questions on this piece?
All right. All right. I think those otherwise were covered in the agenda items. So.
Okay.
All right.
So number 6, old business, we have none. That moves us on to 7A, new business, PD 2026-126-2027. No, not dash, just 2027 capital improvement program overview.
So as a reminder, in 2025, the board established the capital planning committee and did the first, at least first in a long time, capital improvement program to take a look at long-term major asset projects, plan for them, plan for how can things be financed, how can things be spaced out, what should some of the priorities be, and it includes 6 members: the supervisor, the manager, township engineer, planning director, and a trustee rep for the building committee and trustee rep for the Parks and Recreation Commission. Building and Parks and Rec being two of the more prominent areas that the township owns assets, and then engineer knowing water and sewer, the other kind of major categories for township assets. So the last CIP as adopted was in October of 2025, and that was used to help guide the township in preparing the 2026 budget. So as budget season is around the corner for the board, the capital planning committee met actually yesterday to start off the process for 2027. So what's attached is actually just the most recent adopted one. And earlier this month, the Parks and Rec Commission gave some of their feedback on the priority parks projects, continuing on River East to try to finish the major projects remaining for that, and updated parks signage with the updated township logo and branding, and also just some TLC on the signage. So Planning Commission's role is, it is part of the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, that the Planning Commission is part of reviewing a CIP. So last year, we did a little bit of training, and then as the PC was doing the bulk of the legwork to bring it back to Planning Commission to ultimately make a recommendation to Township Board. So a lot of the specific project details will be done probably both through either the committee or any specific project being done. I know we're anticipating some updated water and sewer projects for 27 from our township engineer. But mostly wanted to kind of prime this, depending on when we get some information. This might be at one of the next couple of meetings to have the Plan Commission take a look at an actual draft of the 27, see what's changed from 26, what projects have been completed, what projects are on our radar, and is there anything that should be on the radar that we want to send back to the CPC committee, but ultimately to, in the near future, make a recommendation to the Township Board as they do their budget process.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I just had a couple of thoughts,
Mhm.
which is one for the non-motorized facilities. I don't know how much of this you kind of ballpark what you could go after grant or other funding sources for to expand that. I know right now we have kind of that benchmark that when there's upgrades to a property, there's those sidewalk requirements and things like that, but it would be neat to see if there were more funds that could be leveraged to expand that. And potentially share that cost burden in some ways with developers or folks that are improving their properties if there's outside funding. So I'm not saying that the township itself should fund, but maybe there's
Right.
other avenues that we can leverage some outside dollars to match.
I think that'd be good to investigate.
And then my only other comment was that just how you validate whether the sanitary sewer system upgrades that we're imagining are sufficient for the infrastructure that we own, which is a timely question.
Right. I know, separate from this, there was a whole, I believe, like an infrastructure or either like a water study. I don't know if sewer did as well. It's a great question for the township engineer because this goes beyond my area of expertise. But absolutely, to kind of know like what's our capacity, especially as we had to negotiate with the city, for which we get our bulk water purchased from the city. But yeah, excellent question on how's that forecasted and what's our next thing after some of these.
I guess I still don't have a clear understanding too of what the township owns in terms of infrastructure. Like I understand that the pipes along South Airport, we just went through the one with Cass and now the new one between Park and Cass. And if that's township owned infrastructure and we see it going in multiple places, we know that'll be our responsibility.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't remember the exact, I think we have a map of it. I think those water and sewer maps are really the township's infrastructure. And I believe it's like the water is a bulk purchase from the city, and then sewer, everything goes to the treatment plant at the north end of Boardman Lake. So they're like multi-entity agreements, but how that's broken down specifically,
Who owns the transmission pipes through which it flows?
that is a good question. Yeah.
Other comments and
Well,
questions?
and who's responsible for fixing them? Like
Right.
the one that just happened yesterday on South Airport, is that gonna be a township issue or is that a DPW-wide issue?
DPW.
DPW. Yeah.
Okay.
DPW.
That's
Did
the
they
Or-
get the bill for those repairs? Or did they bill back the
Well,
township?
some of the repairs we're gonna have to do.
That's kind of my question is like,
That one on Cass, we're gonna have to do. We are looking, and I'm not part of that group that's putting this stuff together, so I'm just hearing it out there. We'd like to have Gordy Frazier go in and send a camera through all of our lines and see what we're going to need to do, because some of it's getting pretty old. But we're replacing the only, or actually refurbishing the only clay pipes that we have that are remaining. and that's going to be on Airport and Cass, that area. That'll be redone. But this recent one that broke is not that.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I don't know what the material is, but it's not one of the old clay pipes. And so what happened with that, I don't think they really know yet what happened with it. Was it the flooding? Was it the vibrations from so much traffic on Airport Road? But it seemed to happen at the joints. So this issue was there. So, yeah, they are looking at that, and I don't know what Gordy Frazier will be doing on it, but we have some substantial ones we need to look at before we expand. I think everybody kind of wants to expand, like out around Silver Lake and, around those, because they're sensitive areas. But until we get our other stuff cleaned up, I don't see that really happening much.
Seems like certainly the committee, and I guess ultimately we need to know a little bit more, I think, than I feel like we do about, does the capital improvement plan supposed to deal with some of these sewer things, or are they
Most of
not
it's-
really township problems?
Yeah, most of it's on here, and it goes before the DPW when they make the changes. But, with these maps, you can see where it is, where the water is, where the sewer is. And for our purposes, we'll know if we're putting in a subdivision, if they're going to have water or sewer. Those kinds of things. So, I don't know. Everybody's aware that there's some issues need to be dealt with, and
Also-
unfortunately, they happen, boom, boom.
Yep.
Cass Road
One
and
right after
this one.
another, yeah.
One other question. It seems like with our master plan goals, typically annually, we sort of plan out what we're going to do this year, the next year, the year after, and then we try to check ourselves at the end of the year, like, how'd we do?
Mm-hmm.
Did we do what we said we were going to do? And if not, what do we want to do about that? And I noticed there's several items in this plan that show various project year dates, and anything that's in the future, I'm not even thinking about, but the ones that say 2025, it might
Right.
be, I'd kind of like to get an update on, was it done, wasn't it done, does it need to be rethought of for next year, or do we check it off its history? So at some point, I think that would be helpful for us to hear what's the outcome of the ones that all had a project year prior to the year we're in.
So it's gonna update on in
Status.
progress, yeah, update status on in progress projects.
Yeah, so if you take a table like this, Steve,
Yep.
and have them go down the list.
Mhm.
Okay, here's 25, and there's gonna be 150,000 that's gonna be done on the McCray PRV replacement. Did they get that done?
Right.
You know,
Yeah, and I was actually looking at some of the later pages, because my eyes can't read that one you're holding up, Molly, but I can read this one, and I see a
Yeah,
lot of
same,
2025s.
same. It's-
So I
it's
just
just
don't
in
know
big
whether it
print.
got done or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In all categories.
Yeah, I really see it in
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, and
Right.
I think there were a couple others somewhere that I saw were 2025, so.
Yep. Parks, I know a lot of these off the top of my head, because we also discussed that at Parks and Rec Commission.
Yeah,
Um,
that's probably the biggest one was,
Yeah, the River East Phase 3, the kind of site work was done by AJ's, and then RCI is working on the bathroom. They're both under contract, and they are working on it. So our long-awaited bathroom is being constructed, which was good. The playground is in, that was American Rescue Plan Act funds. Pole barn has not yet happened, but that is still on the list. Copper Ridge Trailhead construction was done. The accessible trail loop, we have a contractor, we're waiting to do the pre-construction meeting at the Commons. It sounds like some of the material may be back ordered, but we could probably split their work into a couple phases so they can at least get some of it done in the fall and then wrap up in the spring. Anything Red Drive Trailhead got bumped because there's a bigger picture issue with Red Drive, so bump any trailhead stuff
Yeah,
down.
I wasn't
beyond.
expecting you're gonna have answers for
Oh.
us tonight. I'm just
Parks,
thinking,
I happen to know off the top of my head.
because
so, yeah.
somewhere along the line,
Mhm.
we're gonna need to weigh in on whether
Correct.
we recommend the town board adopt such and such a plan, and
Mhm.
I don't think we should be ignorant about
Yeah.
stuff that should have already happened. There were a couple in the water system,
Yeah.
section 2, that were supposed to be project years 2025, 2026, so they're not quite done, but
Yeah.
maybe somebody could tell us where the
Mhm.
status
Where
is
they
on
are.
that. Same rationale as I mentioned for the park.
Correct. Yeah. Which also kind of shows a sort of capacity. Like there's a certain budgetary capacity, but also a staff and contractor capacity to get some of these things done. I know there's kind of like a lot of work out there, especially when emergency things have popped up with Beitner Bridge and South Airport Road, which also stretches contractors' availability around town as well. So. But yeah, status update, I think, is the short answer to that question.
Great.
Sorry, I
Thanks.
rambled for a little bit, but
Nope, that was helpful.
okay. Yeah.
Well, as far as, somebody kind of mentioned the financing and, how we were gonna pay for these kinds of things. We don't usually put that in.
We haven't. We've tried to focus on mostly like the current budget. I think it can be helpful and might be helpful for like the current budget year to see is there other funding sources, because what is the total project cost versus what's actually going to impact the township's budget. Like one of the parks projects was actually shown in the adopted CIP, was that mountain biking catalyst. This was a small example, but it was all outside funding. It's all been done through fundraising. So it's a project on our radar, but did not actually affect the township budget at all. We didn't put any money towards it, and we're not handling any money that's being fundraised. I think it would make a lot of sense to do proposed 2027 and break it down into township budget and outside sources if we know of any outside sources. The other thing could be we don't know that yet, but we could pursue grants for things.
Well, they may or may not wanna share that
And maybe we're not at that point yet. So.
information. I mean, we're the planning commission.
Yeah.
We need to deal with what's going to be around some of these things.
Yeah.
But how it gets,
Right.
that's the function really of the town board.
Right.
so.
So maybe that's something the town board considers as they're doing it, or the CPC committee as they're recommending it.
That's
So,
that,
yeah.
but-
So,
I agree with you, Molly. We're not trying to get
Yeah.
into the financing end of it. It's
Yeah.
just, do we recommend to the town board you do X? Because this plan shows that was supposed to get done next year. Well, what if something didn't get done that was supposed to have gotten done a year ago?
Yeah.
That may call into question whether we
Right.
recommend X again or whether we take a step back.
I think it's real beneficial to have an indication of what's been completed, what's
Mhm.
underway, and if it's not, why?
Yep. What's underway and what's stalled and why?
And I think that would be good for the town board to have that also.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, perfect.
Other thoughts, questions, concerns on this one? We good? You feel like you got enough direction?
I think so. Also, as a side note, there is some description in the beginning of the CIP on kind of all the different categories. So it actually does talk a little bit about, I think I hadn't looked in the detail of this in a while, but water is distributed on page 5. It talks about both the water and the sewer system in a couple different categories. In the second paragraph of water, kind of in the middle, water is distributed to users located in the 4 service districts by infrastructure owned, operated, and maintained by the township. Infrastructure is comprised of 6 booster stations, 3 water storage tanks, 12 reducing valve stations, and approximately 78 miles of distribution piping. So that, I guess, constitutes a township's system. And then sewer, there's a similar sewer in their second paragraph. System is comprised of 8 districts with 11 pumping stations, 28,500 linear feet, force main, and approximately 74 miles of gravity piping. So quite extensive.
We need more.
Yep. But also with ratepayers, that's also a enterprise fund for water and sewer.
Right.
Which is also sort of a thing in the CIP, is what part of it affects the budget, what part of it has a different funding source into the budget than just the general fund. So. All right.
All right,
Yeah, there'll be more on that.
good discussion.
All right.
Next up, 7B, PD 2026-127, zoning moratorium on data centers timeline.
All right. So as Molly alluded to, the Township Board adopted the moratorium on the data center and cryptocurrency mining facilities. So as of yesterday, we have the moratorium in place. We did also mention, I believe it was also covered in the media, the application that was made. The applicant, who was the realtor looking at the property on Cybrant, sent some information to the Township Board. They followed up with us after we sent a completeness review indicating the application is incomplete. We expanded on that and explained in a little bit more detail, and that was the last communication we had, and that was several weeks ago. So sort of no news to advance that. And so that moratorium also included moratorium on not just new applications, but processing of any existing applications. So as long as that moratorium is in place, that one is not going to get processed any further. But with that, we have time to be able to look through zoning issues related to these uses and sort of the intensive industrial uses, and what different aspects can we take a look at, which is probably going to be some combination of standards for those uses specifically, standards in industrial districts, where are they going to be allowed, what permission are they going to be, most likely special use permit, and is there anything else we need to take a look at? A couple township staff, myself and John, attended a webinar earlier today. It ended up being perfect timing from Michigan Townships Association. They had a legal counsel that does some work for the township, work for the Township Association, do a webinar of a sample ordinance about data centers. So they did acknowledge like this has a lot of ideas in it, so to morph some of those ideas into your own zoning ordinance. But a lot of the things we kind of initially took a look at, like noise, vibrations, lighting, making them special use permits, but some other kind of aspects that we hadn't thought of yet, which also I think in taking a look at what they had prepared, some things I'm thinking some of these could be adaptable, some we might have to tweak around a little bit more if we wanted to take a look at them. But we also have the benefit of time. We have the benefit of observing what other communities have gone through, and also talking with our own legal counsel, who has some other clients that have gone through this as well. So what staff put together was a time frame for basically gaming out over the course of a year-long moratorium how to use that time effectively. So phase one was yesterday adopting the moratorium and reviewing this timeline. So with the September study session to really dive into the issues and any other resources, any other requirements we might need to take a look at, and to kind of keep looking at that in October and review not only what our own regulations would be, but what is the utility infrastructure, safety infrastructure in place. We talked about how we're not the only entity that would take a look at this. So if there's the state agency that would take a look at hazardous waste, like what are issues that have arisen with this? What are issues that electric utilities, water utilities might face with this? And are there any other places that have actually adopted an ordinance? Can we take a look and kind of learn from the best? We had a planning commissioner from a downstate community who is up either on vacation or has some property up here, but stopped in, recounted their experience there towards the end of their moratorium, and they had an interested developer, so they were able to share a little bit of their experience. I'm sure we can tap them as a resource going forward. November, December, we don't have study sessions, but what staff can kind of propose is, after reviewing a lot of material, we can take that back and be preparing drafts of whatever we'd be updating, parts of the zoning ordinance, including not just the section, or if we create a section on data centers, but any other parts of the ordinance. One thing I kind of gathered from the webinar today is like there might be benefits to updating some other parts of the ordinance so that they align and make it a little easier to regulate and enforce. But over the course of November, December, to be putting that together, so by January to have a draft that both the board and the community at large can take a look at and have that draft reviewed by legal counsel. February, we usually do our annual joint meeting, so to actually go through that and that be the sort of main topic of discussion at that joint meeting, and to review that first draft. Is there anything else we need to take a look at? We also thought at some point in the winter to hold a public meeting. We've obviously already heard a lot of concerns. It was in the format of just public comment at our regular meeting, which, as we talked through with the attendees, was more we are hearing their comments and then conducting our business, having something where we can actually have a more conversational piece. Perhaps doing that like right before our scheduled meeting might be something to take a look at. And then over April and May to basically refine the draft based on taking a look at it based on legal's input, based on planning commission and board and community input. What else do we need to take a look at? Refine that into two, and if needed, a third draft. And at that point, if planning commission is comfortable to actually set the public hearing and start the process of actually recommending zoning ordinance amendment, and the rest of the time of the timeline would be to move that through the zoning amendment or zoning ordinance amendment process. So in theory, to have that by about a year's time. This is obviously a very draft timeline. It's sort of a plan of action, but as things come up, we can always adjust. The moratorium language in the ordinance does allow the board by resolution to extend it by 6 months. If we were to need that time, if language needs to be refined, if new issues emerge in the industry that we need to also continue to take a look at, which is certainly possible with the speed of some of these things. But we want to at least have a plan of action in place so we know kind of keep us on task as we take a look at this.
Thank you, Steve. It feels really good to have a roadmap of what we're looking at and the steps that we're going to take. And I, as a planning commissioner, feel pretty good about now our ability to be studious and intentional and evidence-based on whatever we come up with. So this is really well laid out. Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, just a comment that I'm still anxious to get some information about data centers that are existing in the state. We have them that have been there for 15 years, 20 years, in large communities, close to residential areas, some that are only in industrial or other. What size are they? Any effects? What are the environmental effects to the ones that are there? What are the problems that the people are having? Are they hearing buzzing? Is there, you hear all kinds of things on Dr. Google. So I'd like to know really what is real. So I know there's a big one that is in the Grand Rapids area. It's an old steel case building that was refurbished, and that's a good size. After lots of conversation with some legislators and others, the idea that it's going to be in Traverse City, or Leelanau County, Grand Traverse County is pretty minimal. Because of the infrastructure, we don't have the infrastructure for it, which does not mean we should not be prepared.
Correct. Yep.
We should be prepared.
Mhm.
And I would like us also to take a look at size.
Mhm.
You know, we've talked a little bit about, okay, we got the small ones, the medium ones, and the large ones.
Mhm.
We're not doing 2,000 acres of data center
Mhm.
anywhere in Grand Traverse County that I know of. Maybe we could get way out on the south edge or somewhere, but not definitely in Garfield Township.
It would take a lot to assemble that land. It'd be too cost prohibitive.
It would be, so,
Well,
I don't think we're gonna have the mega here, but medium size, and how would we define those things?
mhm.
What size is the one that Traverse City Public Schools has? How many square feet? And what's happening all around that? We can look in our own community, we got 3 of them here.
Mhm.
So let's see what's real out there, so that's
Mhm.
my comment.
Do we as the country have an accepted standard of the definition of a data center? Because I've heard more than one.
Yeah, I mean, municipalities define their own, have their own definitions in their zoning ordinance. I don't think there's one hard and fast definition.
I've seen a bunch of them, and I was
Yeah.
curious when they come to the door, how
Mhm.
we determine it falls into the category
Yeah,
of a data
pretty
center.
basic.
Mhm. Yeah, that's part of the challenge when different municipalities define it. I don't know if the state has anything, or if they would look at that. If they look at anything, that's another thing to monitor over the course of this moratorium. Will the state take any action? Will there be any updates to the Zoning Enabling Act? I don't know. It'd be something to take a look at, but yeah, typically definitions for uses are handled at the municipal level. So as long as we're clear about what we're talking about, I think as we put it together, it's both being clear what we're talking about and then figuring out what are those impacts. It seems like one strategy among many might also be focus on the impacts themselves and what is, we heard some of the comments talk about like what's enforceable that the township can do. And an example that comes to mind, when we were looking at like the wetland delineations and we were updating that wetland section of the zoning ordinance a few years ago, we clarified how we were going to define the wetland was you get a delineation and you have the state verify it, because the state is ultimately the one that has that expertise and they have an environmental regulation agency. Like the township does not have that. But the thing that we can put in is setback. So if we add an additional setback, which is what we have, and then we included snow storage in that, that's easy for us to enforce when we're reviewing a site plan. Is say, where is your snow storage? Make sure it's out of there. Where is your everything else? Make sure it's set that far back from a wetland.
So that would be for everything that's industrial or commercial,
Right, so if there's something like,
not just, it's a data center, so we're adding on an extra 10 feet. Not
we can
that.
choose how to do it. There should be like reasons why that is, but like setback is something we can regulate rather than like, I'm thinking of, like noise should be at a certain decibel level. Like if something goes in and then it's noisy, how do we go out there and
And it
measure
should be for any.
measure at midnight, like what
Yeah.
the noise level is, but
Yeah.
we can measure where the setback is. But I think whatever is going to be enforceable, if there's something that needs to be in the township's realm that we almost need like training for, how do we do that? But basically kind of look at all aspects of this.
Yeah.
So,
I concur with Kara that I like the looks of the timeline. I think it lays things out
Mhm.
in a visual way that we can all kind of see, okay, we ought to be about here at such and such a stage.
Mhm.
I also agree with what it looks like your conclusion is, let's try to get this set up so that we get it done within a year.
Mhm.
I saw on one of the news stations this morning that the Garfield Township Board passed an 18-month moratorium. that's wrong. We ought to try to get it done in a year.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you've got August at the tail end. The one question I had, and I'm not sure if I'm missing something or if there's another meeting necessary, but under Phase 7 for June 23, you got conduct public hearing, adopt findings of fact, and make recommendations to the township board. Seems like usually we do that in two different stages. We had the public hearing, and then maybe we recommend the staff to draft findings of fact, but we don't adopt them till the next time.
And we have no place in here where we're recommending findings of fact
Well-
on this timeline.
I've looked back at our, so like for applications, we've typically done that. We've looked back at text amendments where, because we're studying them ourselves, like the findings go with the section of the ordinance for text amendments, but because it's something we've studied, we've usually done the findings at the same time as the public hearing. As far as I remember, I can double check, but I remember doing text amendments that way.
I don't think I like the sound of that. I mean, if I
Okay.
have a public hearing, it looks like the skids are greased already. We've already got findings of fact prepared. Who cares what the public says? And that's not our intention, and it's not, I don't think, good governance.
Okay.
I think we ought to have a public hearing
Okay.
and not take any action until after we have had a chance to process
Okay.
the input we get from the public. So whether that means a separate meeting somewhere gets added, or whether we have to back something up by a couple of weeks, I'm not sure what. We got plenty of time to figure that out. It's,
Yeah.
I think most of the earlier stuff I totally concur with. I just was thinking, we may be saying we're gonna do more on June 23rd than I think we can do on June 23rd.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that this is not etched in stone,
Correct.
so, but I do think it's very important on this one particularly that all the i's are dotted and all the t's are
Yep,
crossed.
absolutely.
So let's get as much information as we can.
Okay. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, it's not etched in stone too, but if we see something already
Right.
that suggests we're light one meeting, and
Yeah.
I'm the only one maybe that's seeing that, but if others concur with that, then we probably don't want to wait till the end of May to figure out now what are we going to do about it. Let's figure it out while there's a lot of time to finesse that situation.
And that's also something, a lot of these are at study sessions, but if it starts to become business, you can also use the action meetings, so that you can adjust the schedule that way too.
Yeah, and there's always the
Yeah.
possibility of special meetings, although I
Yeah.
personally am usually loath to do those, but.
I think we can schedule it around to not have to do a special meeting, but we can double check that and kind of adjust that. And I think keeping this in front of us as we're doing each step of this. So if we need to adjust, we've got the whole timeline in front of us. I think we
Well,
keep doing that.
If the planning commission is ready to adopt, we may not need draft 2, draft 3, so on. So we may move things around a little bit,
Do that.
however we need to do it.
One other thought that I have, I'm going to present a challenge without a solution, or I
Okay.
don't have the solution anyway, is that a lot of public comment that we heard was no data centers here, not having it. I am curious if we can find ways to educate the public so that when it's time for them to give us feedback, that we can get constructive feedback that will work. So some education around the fact that we can't, as a planning commission, as a township, ban certain uses just because we don't like it, or really
Correct.
for anything. We can set parameters, we can set guardrails, all of these things. So bring us some constructive feedback on what you want to see with regard to those, because a room full of a couple hundred people telling us no data centers isn't going to help us define the community will. There's, like you said, there's concerns for sound, there's concerns for water, there's concern for electric utilities bills going up. So which of those concern you most, and what mitigating things can we do? Because we cannot say no data centers. Is that
Yeah.
feel
Can we
right to
solve
everybody?
those problems or not?
right? Help us, give us some input to help us mitigate
Yeah.
and be thoughtful.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I will tell you, at the board meeting last night, we had public comment, and there were 3 people that came, and they were all telling us how thankful they were that we were doing this right, and, you know, they were, you know, telling us we were good people instead of the other way around. You know, usually we don't see that, so yeah, that was kind of interesting to see. Thank you for letting us have a voice, and thanks, even though our the town board now has taken public comment away from the beginning of the meeting. We no longer have that. We only have public comment at the end. And the reasoning is that we have business to do and we gotta get it done. We can't do 2 hours of public comment, so it's at the end.
Years ago, we didn't have public comment at the beginning. We just
Yeah.
had it at the end. But somewhere along the line, we were told we're gonna start having it twice.
Don't have to.
Well, we were told by the town board that we
Right.
had to do it that
Right.
way, so we did.
So now
But
it's
if the town board's
going
changing
back.
for itself, maybe the town board will want to tell the planning commission
They
to
may
change
want-
it again.
They may wanna do that.
Yeah, if they want to make all the boards and commissions consistent, then,
But that'd be
yeah.
a town board call, not
That's,
Yeah.
yeah,
ours.
that's a Joe.
Yeah, if they want to do that, they can send that direction to all the boards and commissions, but, yeah.
I mean, there's good things to say about doing it both ways.
Right.
You know, you like to have people be able to talk before you vote on stuff. But on the other hand, they have ample opportunity to come in and say their piece to the people that are here, and then at the end, say their piece, so,
So, yeah.
yeah.
On our fall newsletter that goes with the taxes and I think it's the 1st of December that we get our winter taxes. We always get a newsletter. We added a paragraph in there, maybe from the planning department on that there is gonna be data centers. We just wanna regulate them just so they kinda
I think actually doing the whole newsletter on this entire topic, our section of it, it'd be very timely. It'd be very, like, a chance to at least initially start to explain some of that. Like, yeah, we can't ban a specific use. Here are the tools we can put in place, and we're starting to try to make those as robust as possible so that we are prepared. And that's going to be a part of our strategy, and invite them to come out. You can come to any of our meetings, you can come talk to us. We will have a more open house style at some point. But yeah, I think using that newsletter, since everyone gets that, or all the property owners get it anyway.
Yeah, the property owners.
Yeah, sorry, renters, but it's also online, so yeah, but property owners will get it directly. I think that'll be a great first kind of initial step, and to show, like, here's how we got to this point, here's where we're going.
Are there, that you know of, or can we find, two kind of videos, the fors and the against? So people have a way to compare, why do you want data centers, and what are the positives for that? And then, here are the negatives, and have them only be real. Not all it's starting to become very political, and that's not where we want to go with it. It's what's the real deal on why they're good for communities, and what's the real deal on why they are not
Right.
good for communities.
Yeah, anything that becomes a political issue, it becomes like a tightrope for especially staff to walk. Elected officials, it's a little different, but yeah, especially staff. So I think, yeah, keeping it to, yeah, that's why we always call it findings of fact, not findings of political opinion. It's findings of.
But is
yeah.
there such a thing, Michigan State University, maybe U of M, maybe others in the state that can give the data on both sides of it and
Yeah.
stick it on our website?
I
People
mean,
can
rather
do
than
that.
even like taking it out of realm of good or bad, but like, why are they being proposed? Like, what's driving it?
Yeah,
And at least what are the claims, and then what stands up to scrutiny? What are the actual issues as they've come up? The U of M resource that we've included before is one of the first ones. I know that cites other ones that go into detail on specific parts of that. The most recent Michigan Planner was all about data centers and AI.
yeah.
And seminars, webinars come up at pretty much every conference at this point. So I think kind of, yeah, looking at we have been made aware of a lot of the challenges and concerns about them, but at least someone out there at least perceives that there are benefits. So the people behind them, like, what is driving that, and what of their claims are true, what of their claims actually do present the challenges that we do need to confront.
Well, it might be a good idea to explain
Mm-hmm.
what they do.
Right.
I've talked to a lot of people who think that the cloud is a satellite that's up floating around. The cloud is not that. The cloud is the data center.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the cloud is.
Right.
So if you have pictures, you use your phone, if you do any of these things, you
Mm-hmm.
need that energy. You don't have to have it here.
Right.
You can have it someplace else, but you need it, just like you need a place to dump garbage, just like you need a place to do a sewer, just like you need, so,
Mm-hmm.
what is it?
We haven't used the phrase in a while, but like for like a dump site, like, yeah, you need trash, you need to put it in a dump site. The phrase we've used before is LULU, locally undesirable land use.
Yeah, well,
You need to have them somewhere if we have this.
it's, you
Yeah.
know, there's lots of things people
Mhm.
don't like, but,
The other phrase I like is there are no solutions, only trade-offs. So what are the trade-offs?
well,
Well,
you wanna keep using your phone? You
Right.
better think about how you're gonna do that.
mm-hmm. But it's also becoming increasingly difficult to not use it. Like, we conduct banking on our phone, we conduct main communication, not just talking on a phone, but email. We use it to have tickets to events, to travel. It's becoming increasingly difficult to not use your phone.
But it doesn't have to be within a geographic area
Right.
of your phone to
Mhm.
be able to use it.
True.
You know, you can
Mhm.
have one
Right.
someplace.
But that's why they're needed somewhere.
Somewhere.
That's why they are a Lulu.
Just not in my neighborhood. NIMBY.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that's it. We don't want to be
Right.
NIMBYs here. We want to,
But yeah, that's where, yeah, zooming out to the 10,000-foot view of this is, yeah, what are those trade-offs, and what can be done about them to make sure that we are protecting the health, safety, and welfare of our residents.
and we have them now,
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
already.
I definitely want to reach out to TCAPS. Is like, you have data center in the name of Sabin. What goes on here? What do you mean by this?
Yeah. And
Is that something that would fall under what we would maybe adjust our data center definition to?
square feet area?
Yeah.
What's the noise level that comes out of there?
Make sure when you talk with them, it's not threatening them at all.
Right, I'm
They're-
just like,
they're not
we're-
in any trouble. We just want to get some education on what
Yeah.
Right.
goes on.
Right.
See if they're using water to cool
Right.
anything, and if they have,
Mm-hmm.
what vibrations or anything.
Well, and on the electric part, you know, we have nuclear-powered submarines, so you can do a nuclear electricity-type system in a very small area. It's not like you need, you know,
I think part of the concern with the electric is who bears the cost for building the additional infrastructure. And so like some areas have said, well, if the data center's driving the need for that electric, they 100% bear the cost of
should
that
do their own.
infrastructure. Yeah.
Sure.
I'd be curious too, thinking about TCAPS, so thinking about our projected growth as a community and the local infrastructure, because you're right, the cloud could be in any township where it's somewhere, right? Somebody's got to have it in their backyard. But how do we continue to support the local growth that we expect to see at the trajectory we expect to have it?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, say that TCAPS doubles in size in 10 years.
Yeah.
Are they going to still be able to meet the needs for their data usage
Right.
given our new parameters? And so it would be worthwhile to talk to existing businesses that have those uses as primary to make sure we're not handicapping their growth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yep. And if we considered updated definitions or standards, it's like, all right, what are these? Do they fall into one side of this? And are some of the concerns even with these, or is it more the bigger ones, or both? All right.
Great
I wonder if
conversation.
the Eagle has recommendations for particularly water a lot of people are concerned about
Mm-hmm.
water contamination.
Yep, water quality.
They have thought about what kinds of things they might accept or not accept. You know, we've kind of identified the main: noise, water,
Yep,
electricity.
yep.
How do we,
Mhm.
is there a chance we can deal with it? If we can't deal with it, it's okay
Right,
too, but.
yeah, and also what holds up in, like, to legal scrutiny.
Yes.
The person from downstate who talked to us was sort of indicating the noise regulations seem to hold up the best, at least from their experience, and maybe something they can actually administer on the local level, but that seemed to be holding up.
Then there's gotta be a way for us to measure that.
And maybe we get into the business of measuring sound, which would be something new. But yeah, that's what I was alluding to. With like, is there any training that either staff needs to do, or is like, if there's something appropriate at the local level that we don't actually have the capacity to do yet, do we need to grow our capacity?
I would argue that if there's specific intensive uses that are going to drive the need for that capacity, that those
Mhm.
uses should maybe bear the cost of that in some way.
Could be done through an escrow. Could be done.
Manpower would be
usually
a
what
good
we
source too for
end up
Mhm.
with is
whether,
they do one, and then we do one,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, we don't want to just take theirs, so.
Yeah, they do it and then do an escrow to have a peer review of it. And that's kind of what we did with.
Yeah. High tops.
Traffic
Thank you.
study.
That was the one. Yeah, high tops.
and we do it with traffic studies.
And traffic
pretty
studies,
regularly.
yep, same thing. So, yeah, maybe that's part of it, is looking at not just the industrial standards or use standards, but that sort of escrow and doing other additional studies. And we can justify doing that, so.
There's other pieces that we may come up with too, like we've talked about, sort of monitoring compliance with, if there's agreements in place on usage of different utilities, then, well, who's going to make sure that they send the reports and interpret the reports, et cetera. And so again, if specific uses are driving your need for staffing to do that monitoring,
Mhm.
you know, similar to how, you know, the health department, if they have to, or even in the township, if you need an inspection or if you need a, whatever it is, a study report done, there's a fee for that service.
Mm-hmm. Cozy. All right.
Sound good to everybody?
It's a start.
Yeah, we are now in the moratorium, so this will be. I think this will actually be really good. Yeah, when I was thinking about it earlier today, I was like, yeah, this starts affecting like some of the other parts of the ordinance, but it might give us a chance to
We could-
kind of make those more enforceable as well, and make sure like it's aligned, make things some a little bit better alignment. So things we can refine and make it better to protect health, safety, and welfare.
Do we have a standard language in some of our permits that we don't have to just accept the developer's word that he did dot his I or he did cross his T? Do they automatically give us permission, for example, to go to the utility or to go to the water source and find out how much water is really being used? Or how much electricity is really being used? I mean, you want to get it from the applicant, but if they stonewall you or you think you're getting a bunch of hooey, it'd be nice to have
Right.
permission
The
to
only
go
thing
right
that
to
I
Light and
know
Power
of would
Company.
be the engineer.
I'm sorry?
The only thing that I know of from construction would be the engineer. Usually townships have an engineer review, like a subdivision. When we did subdivisions, we
Mhm.
had our own engineer who designed the subdivision.
Mhm.
But then we had to go to another, whoever the township has as their engineer, to go back through and do it.
Mhm.
Are you
Doesn't,
thinking
it doesn't
of
make the builder happy.
like a release of information though, to where you want to be able to go direct to the utility and get answers if you're not getting them?
If the staff, yeah, I'm thinking staff might have that ability. I know we clarified the other day about one of our things that I guess is standard language that we have permission to go on the property.
Mhm.
So we're not trespassing if we
Yep.
go to somebody's
Yeah.
property. Well,
That's when they submit an application. Yep.
just to take the topic of energy usage, that's one of the topics I guess we're going to be talking about. If the regulations have some kind of quantifiable amount of electricity that's gonna get used, and the applicant or developer says, we're not using more than that, wouldn't it be nice if we could verify with the source? Whether it's Cherryland or consumers or whoever, how much energy are you supplying to this place? If we had any reason to be questioning that, as long as we had permission, otherwise the Cherrylands of the world are gonna say, I'm not talking to you about my private
I'm
contractual
collecting the money."
relationship.
Right.
But if the guy in the permit gives us permission to talk to to those people, then.
Well, we could maybe require that they come up with their own
So,
energy source.
one of our other standard language is like all agency reviews. So for township engineer, it'd be to review like, and most commonly stormwater, because we also have the stormwater ordinance. But otherwise, like agency reviews, to have them do permits. Like if you're going to put in a driveway, not only to meet our own zoning ordinance, but need a driveway permit from road commission or MDOT. DPW is an agency, Metro Fire reviews from their perspective. Health Department, if it happens to be well and septic. DPW for water sewer. I don't think we've usually gotten like the utilities for electricity, mostly because I think we sort of maybe assume that it can be absorbed. In this case, we're now seeing that there may be concerns about that.
Exactly.
And to see like who's aligned. Like I've seen in some of the media coverage of this, like the one that was proposed is right next to Light and Power, and they seem to think it could be absorbed. And a lot of people had concerns that it was going to drive up energy costs. So kind of also delving into that. Like other places, I think some utilities have actually looked forward to these as a potential ratepayer who could pay for capital projects, not just their own energy source, but to pay back into the system, which is sort of what are the trade-offs? Because some, not just people, but other entities might think of it in a different way. But yeah, broadening the agency reviews, if there's something that we are concerned about, potentially that's something to look at. But if they're not aligned with us and they're like, yeah, that's fine, then what do we have to stand on? Make sure we have, as we're updating this, we are defending or putting in the things that we are concerned about, because they may not be aligned 100%.
Lots to think about. Lots to think about.
Have 360 some odd days to get it together.
364 days. Yep.
All right, we can do it.
No, there will be plenty. Like I said, this is not going away anytime soon as a topic of discussion. So we'll look forward to it. And thanks everyone for working through I think the longest public comment we've had, and to get it to the board and to the board for getting the moratorium in place in a timely fashion, so that we can also pause the one that we have currently in the docket, make sure that we can take the right precaution while that one is sort of out there.
Let me get on my soapbox a minute here.
Go for it. The floor is yours.
I mean, we traditionally take a look at how something is going to contribute to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Housing is going to contribute to the community, or,
Mhm.
you know, the Olson's project, that's going to contribute jobs, that's going to do. So if we find that a data center is not, we can't find a way for it to contribute to the community,
Mm-hmm.
then we're going to be a lot less likely to head in that direction,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the rules are. So if they can come up with their own, for example, nuclear power in their own facility that comes back into our grid, that's a contribution to our
Mhm.
community. You know, there are things that can contribute. Let's see what they are and be mindful of that. If there's nothing,
Yeah.
then
You can set the bar really high with standards if it needs to be set that high to protect health, safety, and welfare of the community.
yeah.
It's not on us if no one can clear it. That's why you put the regulations in place.
Well, that's not my
Correct.
intention, at least, to head
Correct,
in that
yeah.
direction.
But yeah.
I want to,
Right. But yeah, the
Fine.
bar can be set high, but it's got to be reasonable for why it's set where it is. And that's what we'll be determining. But yeah, if if they are reasonable and they are defensible, if someone complains that they can't clear that hurdle, but we have already justified why we put it there, it's like, okay, well, we already justified it. It's not on us to make their project better.
I was sent an article the other day, and I'm not going to try to cite it because I will probably get the article name and the state wrong. But essentially, it was exactly what you're talking about, maximizing trade-offs, and it's a particular state that has done that. They originally were supportive of data centers, thought it was going to be a huge economic driver, then realized there's some big community challenges, pivoted, and now have positioned in that state. It was through community benefit agreements and some other mechanisms, self-supported electricity infrastructure, and so they've leveraged it to maximize the benefit that the community gets from it. And I think
Right.
that that's something we can get behind more, if you can see those scales tipping in one or another. And you know what? That state is still getting data center activity. If those companies want to do business in that
Yes.
state, that is the trade-off on their side. So it's important to look at it with both hats on, ours as well as the companies.
I don't think, I mean, a lot of people that came for the public comment had fear about putting in a data center.
Mhm.
I mean, it was going to, we were going to hell in a handbasket if we did this, and
Mhm.
I don't think, this board doesn't traditionally do that anyway, but we do not want to approach it with fear.
Mhm.
So bring us all the wisdom and evidence and best practices, and we'll get it
Yep,
done.
there we go. And we've got time to do it. So, and we got a game plan to use that time wisely.
You know how fast it goes.
Yep.
It's gonna fly.
Oh, yeah, it will. So, all right,
Yeah.
Okay, we good with this one? Move on?
all right.
All right, let's get us to 8, public comment, no public. Moving on to 9, other business, nothing on other business. 10, items for next agenda, September 9th, 2026.
There will be several things on this agenda, so this one could be a packed meeting, at least with the agenda items. I don't know how many public for it, but definitely probably some. There's a couple public hearings for White Pine Ridge and 4040 Creekside housing, both housing developments. Should be findings of fact for Sugar Plum, the mixed-use suburban rezoning, and a third item, Wolverine substation. We are waiting for a couple of those for some updated submittal information from applicants, so we'll make sure we get those as we prepare staff reports for packets to get sent out next week. And then we have a couple conceptual reviews. And we will have potentially the CIP, if we get the information we're looking for. Otherwise, it might be further down the line. But if there's something actionable, we'll bring that to you as well. And hopefully that's it. There's already plenty. Let's get through what's on our plate
Sounds
first.
good. Let's stick with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 8:08.